All right, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. I'm really hoping that today's my last day that I have to miss, and then I will be back tomorrow, so hopefully no more videos after that. So first of all, today we're just going to continue along with natural logs, and those properties that you guys learned for logs, the power, the quotient, and the product property, you can actually apply all of those to the natural logs as well. Because if you remember from last Friday, natural logs are the same thing as a log, just base e. So, first of all, we can apply the product property. So ln of mn is the same thing as ln m plus ln n. Okay, that's the product property. And then we can also apply the quotient property, which states ln of m over n is the same thing as ln m minus ln n. In other words, the natural log. And then finally, we can apply the power property, which states that if you have the natural log 2 of some power, you can put that exponent in front. So all the properties that we used for just logs in general, we're going to use those same properties for the natural logs. Okay, just remember that we always have to have one of two conditions. We either have to have a log equaling a number or a log equaling a log. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at number 1. We have log equaling a log. Notice that there's nothing on the outside of this log. Okay, that 5x is considered on the inside. So it's already isolated for us. And like I talked about in the video on Friday, you can do one of two things depending on, who you get help from. You can either what some people call e both sides. So, sorry, I forgot to change it back. E both sides. Just make sure that whatever you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other side. These quote unquote cancel each other out. You get 5x equals e to the 4th and go from there. Okay? To keep it uniform from what we've done already, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as log base e of 5x equals 4. And then when you have a log equaling number, you circle line up. So then we have e to the 4th equals 5x. Notice that these two are exactly the same. Okay, and so from there, we just go ahead and we solve for x. So x equals e to the 4th over 5. Now I know I've said this a few times already, but I'm going to stress it again. Remember that if you have the word log or e in your answer, then that is the exact answers. Notice that there's not any decimals. Once I go ahead and plug that into my calculator and round it to 4 decimal places, that is the rounded solution. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and jump to number 3. And you'll notice that some of these problems are review from what we did yesterday. Okay, so here we have e to the negative 2x. So that's what I want to isolate. Everything on the outside of that has to be moved over. Okay, so treat that yellow section as just, another variable like 1. So the first thing I would do, subtract 4. So I get 3e to the negative 2x equals 6. And then that highlighted yellow area is still not isolated. So I have to go ahead and divide by 3. So I get e to the negative 2x equals 2. Okay. So once you get to this point, remember that we can't solve for a variable when it's in the exponent. So we're going to go ahead and either rewrite in logarithmic form, or what I like to do is I go ahead and I natural log both sides. Okay, just remember that whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side of the equation. So these quote unquote cancel each other out, and I'm left with negative 2x equals ln of 2. So x equals negative ln of 2, all divided by 2. Okay. A huge mistake that students make here is that they like to say that's natural log of 1. The 2's on the outside. By the way, if you hear that, that's Rocky snoring right now. Notice that the 2 is on the outside. Okay, it's not part of this inside here. So we can't combine these. You leave it the way it is. All divided by 2, and that's your exact answer. Okay, go ahead and plug that into our calculator. We should get negative 0.3466. Okay. All right. I want you guys to take a moment, and I want you to try 4 and 5 on your own. Share with your group, and then go ahead and hit play on the video after that. So let's go ahead, try 4 and 5, and pause the video. Okay, here's what you guys should have gotten for number 4. You already had an isolated log here. Okay. So you can go ahead and just rewrite it as log base e and then switch it into exponential form. Solve for the variable and then plug it into your calculators. Okay. And then in example 5, you had to isolate e to the 2x, so get everything away from that. Once again, stress here that when you divide both sides by 2, you're dividing the entire log by 2, and make sure I can see that distinction in your work. Okay, if I see this, that looks like you're dividing 5 over 2. Okay, so make sure I can see the distinction that you're taking the entire natural log of 5 divided by 2. And depending on your calculator, you need to make sure that you close that parenthesis before you divide by 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at number 6. Now, number 6 is going to be applying the properties that you guys have already learned. Okay, and you approach this the same way you did the other problems. Remember that we have to have 1 of 2 conditions. We need to either have a log equaling a log or a log equaling a number. In order to do that, we need to use some of our properties of condensing. So first of all, we have to get rid of these exponents and get them up. Okay. And then, how do you condense addition? Hopefully you say multiplication. So we get 2 to the 3rd, which is 8. So we have the natural log of 8x squared equals 5. And now we have this log that's all by itself. There's nothing else on the outside. So once that scenario happens, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as log base e of 8x squared equals 5. I have one of my 2 scenarios of either a log equaling a number or log equaling a log. So I'm going to circle on up. So I get e to the 5th equals 8x squared. Divide by 8. Okay. What do you have to remember with square roots? Plus or minus. So x equals plus or minus e to the 5th over 8. Okay. Now before we plug this into our calculator, remember that you guys have to make sure that the insides of the logs are not negative or 0. And remember that you always have to go back to the original problem, not after you apply the properties. You have to go back to the original. So if I take this negative number here and I plug it into this x, I get the negative inside a log, which isn't possible. So my final answer is just going to be the positive of what I just did. Okay, you don't have to rationalize this. You can leave it exactly like it is. Okay, and then you just go ahead and you plug that into your calculators, and you should get 4.3072. Okay, all right, 2 more examples left. Okay, and this is one of those examples where people that are taught to just e both sides have a tendency to do this. They go, okay, I'm just going to e everything like that. You can't e individual terms. remember that our two conditions either has to be a log equaling a number or a log equaling a log. I can't have multiple logs on one side and then start applying things. Okay, so you have to make sure that you do not try to eat individual terms, nor that you just say, okay, x times x plus 1 equals 2. And maybe if you want to write some active notes about this, so do not eat individual terms. Okay, and the log equaling a number, you have to circle up. Ah, sorry. Okay. All right, so first of all, how do you condense addition? Hopefully you say multiplication. So natural log of x times x plus 1 equals 2. Okay. And let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Keep what's inside the log inside parentheses. So x squared plus x equals 2. And once again, students make the mistake sometimes of trying to say, okay, x squared plus x equals 2. And if you notice, that'll actually factor fairly nicely, so they think that that's the right answer. But you have a log equaling number, so you have to circle on up, or like I said, you can e both sides at this point. Okay, so we circle on up. Okay, and notice, e to the second is going to be a pretty tough number, so you can just go ahead and, for now in this example, we're going to stop here. Okay, and just know that in this example then, you would have to go ahead and factor and then make sure both answers work. So biggest thing here is apply the properties to get down to a log equaling a log or a log equaling a number, and then apply our properties from there. All right, last example. And in this last example, the first thing we have to do is apply our properties of condensing. So how do you condense subtraction? You condense it with division. Remember that you divide the insides, not the logs themselves. So we get the natural log of x plus 2 divided by 4 equals 3. Also remember that we can't cancel individual terms, right? Can't complete the heart, then you can't cancel anything else. So you can either e both sides from here, or rewrite this first to keep things uniformed. Once you have a log equaling a number, remember that you can circle on up. So we get e to the third equals x plus 2 over 4. And then from here, sorry, I don't know why it keeps doing that. From here, you guys just go ahead and solve. So we get 4 e to the third equals x plus 2. And then x equals 4 e to the third minus 2. Or some people might write it like this, and that's the same thing. Okay, that's going to be your exact answer. And then as always, plug it into your calculator for the rounded solution. Remember that there will be that section on the quiz and the test where you have to do both, and that's what you should get for the rounded. Okay? All right, so not too bad for a video today. Like I'm saying, I'm really hoping that my doctor's going to release me to allow me to come back to work tomorrow, because I really don't want to teach tomorrow's lesson on a video. But that being said, I know teachers have been checking in on you guys to make sure you're understanding the material. But please, 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 come in tomorrow morning. If I'm here, obviously, I'll send a message on Schoology if I got released or not. And then hopefully I can try to stay after school a little bit on Wednesday too. Because remember, I'm going to be gone on Friday as well. So kind of a crazy week. I apologize about everything. But looking forward to getting back to work and seeing you all. Have a great day. Bye.